Hey guys, it's a babbling simmer and welcome back to the channel for a speed build. Today I am building the Pleasant family home straight out of the Sims 2 into the Sims 4. I have seen other versions of this same build on the gallery before, but I wanted to make my own version since I also made my own version of the Pleasant family, which is my previous video, so check that out if you would like to see my versions of them. All of this is also available on my gallery. My origin ID is a babbling simmer, same as my YouTube channel. This was a really interesting build in the sense that I kind of was trying to follow the original home as closely as possible and stay true to the vibe and the vision of that house, which made it really interesting because the floor plan, I was looking at a picture of the house from The Sims 2 and I was sort of just trying to map it out based on that, which was a little weird because The Sims 2, like the building was a little bit different than it is in The Sims 4, so it was just funny to try to convert that. And you can see when I'm doing the layout that I definitely have some issues and I end up having to fix some things at the end because sometimes when you're just looking at a picture of what something looks like, it doesn't always practically translate. So that was sort of the case here, but I think I did a pretty good job in the end, especially from the outside. I think it looks very similar to the original home on the outside, and I'm proud of how it turned out. Though the inside is interesting, but I tried to stay true to the original home, and the original home's inside was pretty ugly. It's very traditional, which is not my typical building style. I wouldn't say I'm usually more on the super modern side, but I'm kind of more into, I'm trying to think, like maybe, I don't know, I really like homey type feeling homes, but I'm into using lighter colors. I'm not usually into using dark wood items. I like light sofas and lighter kitchen tables and things like that, which this home I felt like is very dark, and it sort of turned out being very dark, which is not my typical builder style. I plan to do a speed build of an apartment soon, and that's definitely going to be more along the lines of my building style. So I'm excited to do that. But this was fun in the sense that it was sort of out of my comfort zone and I had to sort of think about things a little bit more, and I used items in the game I never use, especially when I start to do the interior and I get to the living room. The sofa that I used in the living room, I don't think I've ever used that sofa because it's just far too traditional for me. I'm not into traditional style too much. That reflects in my own living space and in my Sims living spaces as well. But yeah, I think it turned out really well. This house has 2 chimneys on either side, which is kind of interesting, though I think that's typical of sort of this style home. It's really funny. I'm sure you guys do this as well if you build in The Sims, but whenever I kind of walk around neighborhoods or walk around outside, I look at houses in such a different light than I used to. I mean, I've been playing The Sims for pretty much majority of my life, but I was never really that into building until The Sims 4. Sims 1 building was just, you can really make really cute houses in The Sims 1. Sims 2 building was definitely better, but I was just not really into it back then. But Sims 4, I think they really improved the way building works. I think it's so great how you can just drag rooms around and drag the whole house around. So I've been a lot more into it than I used to be. But I will be completely transparent and honest in the fact that I am not a very good builder. And I admit the fact that I'm not a very good builder. I am always in awe when I see some of the creations on the gallery, especially when people make these crazy community lots that have so many different intricate elements and styles, and I'm just amazed at how people even figure out how to like conceptualize the entire thing. I especially am amazed how some people use certain items for different purposes. I find the creativity in that incredible. There's an item, it's just like a wooden board or something. I can't remember what the item is and what the purpose was, but I saw one build one time where people were using that as like a roof, and it was just so cool. And I know a lot of times people use that like transparent dance floor from Get Together as a sunlight, which I think is really creative as well. I just love when people find uses for objects other than what their original purpose is supposed to be. So that is it just inspires me so much, and I admire those people incredibly, especially when people are able to create, you know, things from TV shows and movies and make it look so similar to what it actually looks like. Like, this build wasn't that hard in the sense that I was creating a house that was originally in The Sims and just another version of The Sims. But when people can, you know, make like Hogwarts or something insane like that, I'm just amazed at how people are able to figure that out and make it look close to the real thing, because obviously, you know, we're very limited in our options in The Sims, and it just blows me away. And I really am working to try to be a better builder, because I do really enjoy building in the game. I think what I've learned is I have to go in with sort of a plan in my head. I can't just jump into a lot, start building some walls, making some rooms, and hoping it looks good in the end, because that's just not usually how it's gonna work out. It usually, whenever I do that, it just ends up being kind of not so cute. But I really think when I go in there with a plan and have a certain concept in mind or a floor plan in mind, it works really well. And I know a lot of people, there's like, people will go on websites and look at floor plans, and I think that's a really great idea as well. Though whenever I do that, I want to make sure I'm kind of like putting my own spin on it, but I really do enjoy that idea in regards to getting inspiration, because I'm not so great at kind of just doing my own thing. It usually ends up looking so weird. Especially the best is when I'm playing something like a legacy family. So, you know, the house starts off as a little box because that's all you can afford. But then as you get money, you add on to it gradually. But when you just kind of gradually add on to a house, it can end up looking really weird because you're just throwing rooms in random places. And then at a certain point, you're like, oh, what the heck is this home? There is like a bathroom off of like the kids' room, and you have to like go in the kids' room to use it, and like just weird things like that. And you have to like go through like this bedroom to get to another one, and it's just not a cute layout. And then it's usually when I reach that point where I'm like, you know what, I need to just move them to a new lot and completely start over now that this family has money. Because when I just sort of like jump on to an existing like box, it just never looks very good. I really love the backyard of this house with the pool and everything. I think it's really cozy, and I'm really jealous. I would love to have a backyard like this with the nice pool and the patio. I just love the look of this home in general. I think kind of Tudor inspired homes are always gorgeous. There's a couple houses that look very similar to like that near where I live, and I always just love to look at them when I walk by and be in awe. In fact, I really should go. There's this one neighborhood that I live about really close to. I could honestly bike there if I wanted to, but it has the prettiest houses in it. It's definitely like a very well-off neighborhood because they're very, you know, bigger homes, and they're just very ornate and beautiful. But I really want to go back over there, maybe creepily take some pictures. No, I'm not going to take pictures of random people's homes, though I've done that before, especially when I'm in cities. Like when I'm in a city and I'm going down, you know, a block that I think is absolutely gorgeous, I just always take pictures of it. But it would just be so weird to live in a house that people regularly take pictures of. That would just make me, I don't know if it would make me uncomfortable, but it would just be weird to live. Like there's this one home. I used to live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I used to live in Alexandria, which is a city outside of D.C., and there's this one home there that was very, you know, that Alexandria is a very historic city. And there's this one really old home that a lot of people take pictures of, and it would just be, but like people actually live there. So it would just be so weird to live in a house that people are, you know, all the time walking by and taking pictures of. Because a lot of times, you know, when you go to like, say like George Washington's old home or something like that, people don't actually live in those homes anymore, but there are some houses that people still live in that, you want to take pictures of, and it would just be really weird. I remember, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like find your house on Google Maps. I remember I used to do that when I was younger, and it was just always so funny to see your house like on the internet, even though it's like people really aren't looking directly for your house. But it was always weird because sometimes it would just depend when they take the picture. I'd be like, oh, that's like my mom's car or something in front of the house, and it was always so funny. I remember that used to be a big thing to like look up your house on Google Maps. Probably not a normal activity, but it's fine. And moving on to the interior here, and as I mentioned, this is a very dark house. It probably ended up being a little too dark for my liking. There's just really dark wood in the original home. I was trying to stay true to that, kind of keep in style. I have to say the woods in The Sims 4 are really challenging for me. I have a really hard time matching woods and making them look, all the same, because I think there's just so many different shades of wood, and it's hard to figure out what matches with what, especially when you're doing a dining room table. When I get to the dining room, which I think I do the living room next, and then I do the parents' bedroom, and then I'll do the dining room, so we have a couple of rooms to go. But I had such a hard time figuring out chairs that were going to match the table, which is so, I don't know. Usually I just use like white. I love white. My old apartment, literally everything in it was white. It was so bad. All my furniture was white, and I was like, I have to change this because it's just too white. But I really love the like clean IKEA white furniture style. I think it's really pretty, but when you sort of overboard it, it can look a little too much. You kind of need to throw in some other things. I think that's like a very kind of important element of decorating, which I think is hard to learn. I feel like you many times want to make sure everything matches perfectly and looks very similar, but when you match things too much, it ends up looking weird and just too similar to each other. So kind of mixing in different colors and styles and like having pops of designs and colors and things is what really, I think, makes rooms actually look nice. But then sometimes it's scary to, buy a piece of furniture that's super different than your other furniture. So I don't know. Decorating is hard, I have to say. Pinterest makes it look a lot easier than it is. It's just like, do people actually have homes like the homes on Pinterest? I'm always just amazed when I go on Pinterest and I see all these beautiful bedrooms and living rooms and kitchens. And I've never really seen homes like that in real life. I've seen a few, but I just don't know how common that is to have such a perfect home. Because the thing is, you can obviously decorate a home really nice, but your actual, the architecture, like the foundation of your house has to be, a certain style to really exactly fit the way those look. And I don't know, they always have these like beautiful wood floors and exposed brick walls, which I know exist, but those have to be very expensive though to have a home like that, because usually people really love the whole exposed brick environment thing. But I was in New York a few months ago, and one of my friends lives in an apartment that has an exposed brick wall, but the apartment itself is not nice, as typical New York apartments are, unless you are very, have a lot of money. New York is so interesting to me, just the living standards there compared to other cities. It's crazy how tiny apartments are. Though I feel like, in Europe, that's much more common too, though I'm obviously not from that area, so I'm not as familiar with that. But we're just used to a lot of space, I think, in America for the most part. Places are usually very big, because every time I've been to Europe, it's just always funny how much smaller restaurants are and bathrooms and things of that nature compared to what I'm used to. And it's just always interesting how different that is. And I don't know. But New York is sort of like that in many ways. I lived in New York once for about, I lived in New York for a summer. It was like I was doing an internship, and it's an interesting place to live. It was really fun because New York is New York and it's great, but just it's when you're having a bad day in New York, you're having a really bad day because no one cares and you have to deal with it's just impossible not to deal with a lot of people, and it's just a very stressful environment. And for someone like me who definitely can get very anxious easily, it's not a good environment. So I can't say I'm sad not to live there, though. I do. New York is just so iconic, though. That's what I love about it. You're walking and you see these buildings and they're just so beautiful and iconic. You see like the Empire State Building everywhere and the Flatiron Building, which is my favorite building in New York. It's so cool and things like that. And you're just like, oh my God, this is just so cool. And the Brooklyn Bridge. And there's just so many iconic landmarks in New York compared to other cities in the United States. Though I know, I've never been to San Francisco or any of big cities in California. So I know those have very iconic, landmarks as well, but it's New York is its own beast, there's nothing like it. There really isn't. Oh, I'm here in the living room, not the living room. Wow. Good job. Dining room. And you'll see me struggling hardcore with the wood here because I really loved that table I think it's from the Vampire Stuff Pack. I love that table. It's beautiful. But they do not have a wooden chair to match it. I think you're supposed to use a black wooden chair with it, but I did not like the look of that at all. So I ended up having to scrap that whole table, which is super unfortunate because I thought it was really cute and looked really nice. And I kind of go with a much more boring table, which is fine. It's fine. It's just not what I was intending, not my style. But, again, this whole house is not really my style. But I really do like how it turned out. And I did play test this house because I played with the Pleasant family that I created a little bit because I wanted to pre-establish their relationship. So when you downloaded them, Angela and Lilith hated each other, and Daniel and Mary Sue were kind of not so close. And I put Daniel and Mary Sue in jobs, which I'm pretty sure when you download Sims off the gallery, their skills, jobs, and relationships within that family translate. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. I definitely know skills translate, though, because I have downloaded Sims from the gallery before, and people use that cheat where it maxes out all their skills, so the sim is just completely perfect at everything. And I actually hate that because then they, every time you're in city living, they're playing the guitar because they have, maxed out creativity skill. They're always doing everything, and it's like, no, go away. You're not, no. I don't like that. It's unrealistic. I've never been one to really cheat skills and relationships in The Sims because I don't know why. I don't understand why that's fun, because to me, the whole point of the game is to, develop that yourself and advance in your career and things. So when you cheat it, I'm just like, what? I don't know. I know, it's a lot of people, play The Sims primarily to build or to create a sim or vice versa. So, if that's why you're playing, I totally get that. That's just never been how I've played. I've always been, my favorite part of The Sims has always been actually playing The Sims more than anything else. Hence why I'm terrible at building, because I never was a builder too much. But I am starting to get more into it, as I mentioned. But my favorite part has always been playing. I've really always enjoyed developing my Sims' lives and giving them personalities and backstories. That's what's always been most interesting about the game to me, being able to, control a world of Sims. Oh my God, you guys, I had such a hard time doing the twins' bedroom because of the way the roofing was in this house, since the roofing kind of technically goes over the second floor. It's so hard to decorate the walls in this room because you really cannot see the walls very well with the roof blocking them. When you play this house, you will be able to use the half up and down walls, no problem in the twins' bedrooms, which is good, because I was worried about that, because when I was decorating, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Playing in this is going to be awful because you're going to have to play with the walls down. And I don't usually play with the walls completely down. I like to play with them half up. But it's totally fine in live mode. It's just not in build mode. So don't worry about that. See, I'm struggling with it right now. I had to zoom in really closely in order to decorate the walls because I could not see them otherwise. It was such a challenge. I hated that so much. The twins' bedrooms are also such weird shapes, as you can see, especially when I do Lilith's room. Her room is such a weird shape. And it was like that in the original game, like the original house too. This was by no means my doing because I would never make bedrooms this size. They're just so weird. And I mean, I get it because that's how, you know, the dormers on the outside of the house look. So they have to be shaped this way. But like, look how long that hallway, it's not even a hallway, but it looks like a hallway to get to Lilith's bed. Just too much. No one needs that. I had a fun time with Lilith's room because she's such like classic stereotypical goth, and it was just fun decorating like that. I got to use some things from the vampire pack, which I never really touch because that's very traditional Victorian style, aka not my style. Though I would love to make a super Victorian home in The Sims. That's definitely something I want to speed build at some point, though it's probably not going to turn out too great, I have to be honest, but I definitely would love to try that because I think the items that came with the vampire pack are really, really cool. You could see there I was going to give Lilith a DJ table, but then I was like, you know what, that's a little much to put an entire, you know, fancy DJ table. So I remember it was like this big thing in the original home, which I did stay true to, that Angela had a computer in her room and Lilith didn't. And it was like, I remember people used to very much so overanalyze the stories and the characters in The Sims 2 days. And it was like, oh my God, Lilith has a computer. I mean, Angela has a computer and Lilith doesn't. She's clearly, you know, the favorite twin, which I mean, she was the good quote unquote twin. But it was just so ridiculous how people were just analyzing it so much. But that was what made the pre-mates in The Sims 2 so fun, because they had these really well-developed backstories, so you could really, you know, get into it. And I love this bathroom. I think it's so cute. See, this bathroom is my style on The Sims. Very kind of, you know, pastel colors and cute and things of that nature. This is my style. I was very into that. So that's like the only room in the entire house. The twins' bedrooms were by far my favorite to do, just because they had such personality, whereas the rest of the house was just kind of very, you know, straightforward, traditional. This hallway, I really didn't do much to. I just threw a couch in there and I was like, let's call it a day, because it's such a weird shaped hallway. I didn't know what to do here. I really didn't. But I think that's pretty much near the end, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. I will have some screenshots at the end. Feel free to subscribe for more content. I'm going to be doing more speed builds. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.